Hello students, I hope you are all doing well. I welcome all of you for today's class. Today we are going to learn a very interesting concept in mathematics. In fact, it will be very useful in our day-to-day life. Students, have you observed your father or mother having a piece of paper while buying groceries? Yes. If you had observed carefully, it contained the information in this way. Students, if you closely observe this, the left column contains the items required to purchase like sugar, oil, tea, etc. And the right column contains their quantity, maybe 1 kg, 2 kg or 250 grams, etc. Students, have you wondered why they had written like that? They could have written in any other form like statement form or any other form. Because writing like this is very clear, simple, and we can get whatever the information we require very easily. Isn't it smart, students? Yes. Let's learn today's topic, smart charts. Students, all of us do watch TV, listen radio, but how much time you spend in a day? Have you ever calculated how much time you spend in front of a TV or radio in a week? How much time you spent in a month? Yes, here we have our friend Bittu who wanted to calculate it. So he wants our help. Shall we help him? Yes, we will help him. So Bittu found that in a day he spent 2 hours in front of a TV or radio. If so, how much time he spent in a week? What should we do to find the time he spent in a week? Yes, we need to multiply with the number of days in a week. So, tell me how many days we have in a week? Yes, we have 7 days in a week. So, let's find how much time Bittu had spent in front of a TV or radio in a week. We all know that Bittu spent 2 hours in a day. So, to find in a week, we need to multiply with the number of days, that is 7 days. So, time spent in a week is equal to time spent in a day multiply with number of days in a week. So, that is equal to 2 times 7, that is nothing but 14. Students, we found that Bittu spent 14 hours in front of a TV or radio in a week. Students, how can we find it for a month? Yes, by multiplying with the number of days in a month. If the month had 30 days, let's find how much time Bittu had spent in front of a TV or radio in that month. Time spent in a month is equal to time spent in a day multiply with number of days in a month. That is equal to time spent in a day is 2 hours multiplied with the number of days given in a month is equal to 30. Therefore, 2 times 30 is equal to 60. Students, we found that Bittu spent 60 hours in front of a TV or radio in a month. Students, Bittu wanted to know in a week whether he spends more time in front of a TV or radio or his friends spend more time. So, he asked all his friends to do the same what he had done in a week and he collected all the information. So, his collected information he had written in this way. So, in the left column he had written the number of hours they spent in front of a TV or radio in a week, and in the right column he had mentioned the number of his friends. So, 11 friends had spent more than 6 hours in front of a TV or radio in a week, 12 friends had spent 6 hours, 22 friends had spent 5 hours in a week, 8 friends have spent 4 hours in a week, 5 friends have spent 3 hours in a week, 8 friends have spent 2 hours in a week,
and 7 friends spent 1 hour in a week, and finally there was one friend who do not watch TV or who do not listen to radio, that means he spends 0 hours in a week.
Students, let's find how much time did Bittu's friend spend in front of TV or radio. So firstly, how many of his friends spend more than 6 hours in a week in front of TV or radio? Yes, 11 of his friends spend more than 6 hours in a week. Now, can you identify how many of his friends do not watch TV or radio or spend 0 hours in front of a TV or radio? Yes, only one of his friend do not watch TV or listen to radio. So finally, how many hours do most of his friends spend time in front of a TV or radio? Yes, most of his friends, that is 22 in number, spend 5 hours in a week in front of a TV or radio. Students, our Bittu likes news channels, but most of his family members like some other programs like reality shows, cartoons, serials, etc. So he collected all the information and had written in this way.
In the first column, he had written the family member. In the next column, he had written the program they like. In the third column, he had written the program they dislike. So, Bittu's mother liked sports and she disliked serials. Bittu's father liked serials but disliked the cartoons. Bittu's sister liked news but she disliked the serials. Whereas Bittu, I have already said, he liked news but he disliked sports. Bittu's grandfather liked news but he disliked serials. So, Bittu's grandmother liked music but she disliked cartoons.
Students, let's find what kind of program do most of his family members like? Yes, the kind of program most of his family members like is news. Now, what program do most of his family members dislike? Yes, most of his family members dislike serials. Students, will you also do the way Bittu had done and calculate all these things? Yes, very good. Students, Bittu's friend Bujji is reading a poem. Let's have a look at that.
The title of the poem is Who is my friend? I have a friend with me always, in the nights and through the days. When I run, he runs with me. Sometimes I lead, sometimes he. When it's dark, he can't be seen. Do you know which friend I mean?
Students, Bittu asked Bujji, who is that friend? Do you know him? Yes, he is a shadow. Students, I have few questions for you. In this poem, which word comes more often? Yes, very good. The word I comes 4 times in the poem. Students, can you also take a paragraph in your textbook and try to answer such questions? Good. Students, there were a group of friends discussing about their breakfast in the morning. They were discussing what they ate and what it is made of. They were discussing it is made of rice, wheat, barley, maize, etc. A girl named Ragin thought of making a chart and she made a chart in this way.
In the chart, the left column contains the main food and the right column contains the number of persons. So, 11 persons had a breakfast which is made of rice. 8 persons had a breakfast which is made of wheat. 6 had a breakfast made of maize. 5 had a breakfast made of barley. And finally, 2 had a breakfast which is made of ragi.
Students, among Ragin's friends, most of them eat breakfast made from? Yes, from rice. In fact, 11 of our friends have breakfast made from rice. Students, compared to those who eat wheat, children eating ragi are less or more? Yes, since 8 children have wheat and only 2 have ragi, it's clear that children who eat ragi is less. Yes, since 8 children eat wheat and only 2 children eat ragi, compared to those who eat wheat, the number of children having ragi is less. Students, you can also make such charts and find such comparisons. Students, let's consider another situation. For annual day, Bittu's class was performing a drama for which they shared up all the responsibilities. So, the number of students who shared up their responsibilities were given in the following chart.
Students, in the chart, you can observe the vertical line represents the number of children and the horizontal line represents the responsibilities they have shared up. So, here each triangle represents 3 children. Here the responsibilities are acting, collecting dresses, playing music and making the sets.
Students, it is given that each triangle represents 3 children. If so, from the chart, can you find the number of students who took part in acting? Yes, since each triangle represents 3 children and in the chart there are 3 triangles in the acting. So, therefore, totally 3 times 3 which is equal to 9 students took part in acting. Similarly, can you find the number of students who took part in collecting dresses, playing music and making the sets?
It is given that each triangle represents 3 children. Therefore, for acting there are 3 times 3 is equal to 9 children. For collecting dresses there are 2 triangles, therefore 2 times 3 is equal to 6 children. For playing music there are 4 triangles, therefore 4 times 3 is equal to 12 children. For making sets there were 2 triangles and therefore 2 times 3 is equal to 6 children.
Students, you can all try for a small activity. You can cut long paper strips from a waste paper. So, give one such paper strip to each of your friend. Ask them to put that around their head and tear off the extra strip. Here, our friend Fatima had made such an activity. In fact, she wrote each of her friends' name on the paper strips to identify them. And have a look at that.
Fatima had written her friends' names such as Madhu, Rohit, Ramesh, Sadiq and Samina.
Students, Fatima used a scale to measure the length of a strip. She found that Madhu has a biggest head and Rohit has a smallest head. Similarly, you can also measure the strips and find who has the biggest head and the smallest one. Students, now we have a school situation. Let's look at that. There were different clubs in a school such as games club, garden club and drawing club. There were totally 200 students in a school and in a notice board they have displayed a chart representing the number of students in each club, and this is how the chart looked like.
Students, here you observe that the left part represents the games club and in the right above part represents the garden club and the right side below part represents the drawing club. Children, we can call it as a chapati chart for time being because it has the shape of a chapati.
Students, half of the children take part in the games club. So, can you find the number of students who are in games club?
Yes, it is half of 200, that is half multiplied with 200 is equal to 100 students.
Students, we found that there were 100 students in games club. Similarly, can you find the number of students in the garden club?
Yes, it is quarter of 200, which is 1 by 4 multiplied with 200, that is equal to 50.
Students, we found that there were 50 students in the garden club. Students, now it is very easy to find the number of students in the drawing club, because there were 100 students in the games club and 50 students in the garden club. Therefore, since there were 200 students, there were only 50 students left in the drawing club. In fact, drawing club is the quarter of 200, which is nothing but 1 over 4 times 200, that is equal to 50 students. Students, a boy named George thought of making a chapati chart for those students who would like to get wet in rain and for those who do not like to get wet in rain. The chapati chart looked like this.
In this chapati chart, you can observe that a major portion of it represents those who like to get wet in rain and the other one represents those who do not like to get wet in rain.
Students, looking at the chart, can you answer few of my questions? Very good.
How many children like to get wet in rain? You have given with 3 options. Option A, half. Option B, 1/4. Option C, 3/4.
Yes, 3/4 of the students like to get wet in rain. Therefore, option C is the correct answer. Similarly, can you answer the second question?
How many children do not like to get wet in rain? Option A, half. Option B, 1/4. Option C, 3/4.
Yes, 1/4 of the students do not like to get wet in rain. Therefore, option B is the correct answer. Students, suppose if in a class there are 28 students, can you find the number of students who like to get wet in rain?
We know that 3/4 of children like to get wet in the rain. So, if we divide 28 into 4 parts, we get 28 by 4, that is equal to 7. So, each part represents 7 children and 3 such parts represents the children who like to get wet in the rain. Therefore, 3 times 7, that is equal to 21.
So, in a class of 28 children, 21 students like to get wet in rain. Can you find the number of students who do not like to get wet in rain? Yes, you can do it in both the ways. One way is there were 28 students. So, by subtracting 21, you get 7 students who do not like to get wet in rain. Or since 1/4 represents the number of students who do not like to get wet in rain, 1 by 4 multiply with 28, that is equal to 7 represents the number of students who do not like to get wet in rain. Students, few children were asked to choose the one which they liked the most among tea, coffee and milk. There were 20 children who liked milk, 10 children who liked tea and 10 children who liked coffee. Students, let's draw a chapati chart for this information. Totally, how many children were there? Yes, there were 40 children. So, let's make into parts by having 10 children in each part. So, can you find how many such parts we can make?
Yes, we can make 40 divided by 10 is equal to 4.
So, we can have 4 parts having 10 children in each part. Students, let's draw a chapati chart and divide it into 4 equal parts. Students, can you find how many parts represents the children who likes milk? Since each part represents 10 children and there are 20 children who likes milk, we have 20 divided by 10 is equal to 2 parts. Therefore, 2 parts represents the children who likes milk. and one part of it represents the children who likes coffee and the other one represents who likes tea. Students, from the chart, can you find how much portion of the total children likes coffee and milk? Yes, from the chart it's clear that 1/4 of the portion represents the children who like coffee and half of the children like milk. Students, here we end the class. Before we wind up, I suggest all of you to represent various information in terms of charts and observe it for different findings. So, in this class we learnt to represent various information in terms of charts and also to observe for information in the given charts. We also learnt about chapati charts and the way of representing the information in the chapati chart. I hope you have enjoyed the class. Have a good day. Thank you.